The future perfect in Italian is a compound tense that expresses an action that will be completed before another future moment or is assumed to be completed. In Italian, it's known as the futuro anteriore, and it's the English equivalent of saying will have done. Its core function is mainly show an action that is completed before another future action. So formally, the tense marks the earlier or anterior future action that is coming before in time. That's why it's called the futuro anteriore in Italian. Alongside, we can use it to speculate about something that has probably already happened, thereby putting emphasis on completion. Generally, the structure of the futuro anteriore is compound, made from the simple future of the auxiliary verbs avere, to have, or essere, to be, and a past participle. This is a pattern that I thoroughly explained in many of the previous Italian concepts, specifically in the compound past video, so I would highly recommend learning the ideas before continuing with this lesson. Even though the pattern was shown in other tenses, the structure still applies in the futuro anteriore because it's compound. Considering how the simple future will be used in the auxiliary verbs, this is something that I also showed in the previous video, so you can check it out. Before showing conjugations in the tense, it's best to recap the function of the auxiliary verbs avere and essere, which again, I explained many times in previous videos. When avere is the auxiliary, past participles are not affected by agreement, unless there is a preceding direct object pronoun. But when essere is the auxiliary, participles will always change because of agreement rules, where they must match the gender and number of the subject, especially in verbs of movement and reflexive verbs. Now that we've seen the summary of these verbs, we can finally know how to conjugate verbs in the futuro anteriore. The formation will use the simple future of avere and essere with a past participle, similar to saying will have in English. In Italian, every subject will have a different conjugation, which again, I showed in the previous video. The choice of the auxiliary is exactly the same, just being in the simple future, using irregular conjugations. Avrò, avrai, avrà, avremo, avrete, avranno. Sarò, sarai, sarà, saremo, sarete, saranno. These are the conjugations we need to make sentences in the futuro anteriore with past participles. So generally, the tense has no new irregularities because its formation is inherited from other tenses that we already know. The only thing to note is that the tense is best used with common time expressions like quando, dopo che, entro, già, prima che. The last phrase typically triggers the subjunctive in the second clause, which is a concept for a different video. After learning this final concept, we can see basic sentences with regular verbs, irregular participles, verbs with essere, and reflexive verbs. This way, the practice gives more realism with variety. Avrò parlato con il professore entro domani. Avremo finito il lavoro alle 6. Avremo visto il film. Sarò arrivato in tempo. Saremo partiti prima di mezzogiorno. Mi sarò svegliato presto. Besides these sentences, we can see practical examples with the function of each one, such as when English replaces certain phrases, like must have or probably. In one way, the future perfect in Italian creates a future assumption about a past action, speculating about something that must have happened or probably already happened. That's why English replaces such phrases. Quando avrò finito, uscirò. Avrà dimenticato le chiavi. Saranno già partiti. Entro domani avrò scritto il saggio. Overall, this is how the futuro anteriore fully works in Italian. It's a compound tense that's used for completed future actions and assumptions, which is very common in Italian writing and speech.